The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Napick and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Napick.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Napick. Thank you for joining us here on show number 529 on this beautiful weekend. We appreciate you listening so much. And don't forget to tell your friends. That's right, we're on every weekend at this same time. We have a tremendous show, tremendous real estate professionals as always. So let's get started right now as we welcome Lorna Ramsey. The company is Keller Williams. Lorna, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bill.
Well, it's great to see you. And I want to first say, with you, Lorna, you have been in the real estate world. Let's tell people about how many years.
14 years with Keller Williams Metropolitan.
Also, as we think about real estate professionals, we talk to so many here on the show, and people come from all over. But one of the unique things about you is you come from a place that I don't know anyone else that came from this country and is over here selling real estate. Let's tell people where you came from.
So I came from Aberdeen, Scotland, and I came 21 years ago and only for 2 years. And here we are selling real estate for the last 14 years.
So your plan was to be here for 2 years.
Yes, it was.
Funny how life is, isn't it?
Yes, I had a different plan for me.
So what was it where you gained traction to say, I'm going to stay right here in Houston for this amount of time?
So we came with Hess Corporation and they sold off the North Sea assets. So Aberdeen is the oil capital of Europe. And when they sold off the North Sea assets, we came here and there was nothing really to go back to. So we went from a visa and eventually we become citizens. My children came when they were 10 and 11. So they then went into school and university here and now they're working here. So we've had a great life. Houston's been very kind to us.
Being in the real estate world so many years, what was it that attracted you to real estate to begin with?
So I had a group called Wednesday Coffee, which was a group for expat wives. When I arrived in 2003, there was no phone. So it was very difficult to meet other people. There was no social media, no Facebook, no Google, nothing like that.
Say Facebook once more.
Facebook.
Okay.
So I started a group with 20 people. I grew it to 1,500 and helped people every day with their move to Houston. They helped them with schooling, helped them with their house, and I had an interest in it. And when my kids finished school and went to college, then that was the right time for me to go into real estate.
And we want to tell people the Wednesday Coffee program that you have is still in operation, right?
Yes, so it's helping meet other people like yourself. So when you come as an expat, you're a very different person to the local person. You don't have any aunts or uncles or moms or dads or any family close by. So your friends are your family. So it's very important to meet other people like you. And, you know, people come from all over the world to be here in Houston to work in oil and gas. And that is my niche market.
Well, I would think many of the people that you're serving in this niche that you've worked in for so long is you're helping people that come from far away, another country, another oil-related country, right? And here they are in Houston for the first time. You're helping them in a certain way.
Correct. And they don't know the city, so they don't understand the scope of 6 million people and the miles. So it's very important to make sure that they're living and working close together. You know, some people would think it's not a hard commute, but they don't understand Houston traffic. It's very different to what it is back home.
Needless to say, I've never been to Aberdeen, Scotland. I've been all over the world, many places, but never been to Aberdeen. But it is a different culture, different climate, and everything versus here. And certainly I would think from the amount of people, we are the fourth largest city. I don't know how many people populate Aberdeen, Scotland, but it's
not very many. Everybody's left, right? Most people have travelled the world and are working somewhere else. And the oil and gas is given that opportunity. Like, they're not only coming to Houston, they're going to Dubai, Singapore. They work all over, and Houston is a small part of their map of their workplace. And so they're very lucky to come here and have a pool, have a large house. The houses here are much bigger. To have a pool, you would never have one in Scotland because it would be too cold, but equally they don't have the space to have one. So it's a very nice lifestyle to come here as an expat. You get your fees and things paid, and they have a very nice, life living in Houston.
So, and also we want to tell people you're not just helping people from Scotland, but you've expanded your real estate world here. You are getting awards on it every year. You're getting Rookie of the Year when you first started, and so many awards there at Keller Williams. So you're helping people all over the place. But it is interesting that there you are. I would think right now, if we were to be in Aberdeen, Scotland, and someone said, I think I want to go to the U.S., they say, oh, call Lorna.
Yes,
right?
It happens all the time, and it's really interesting. I've relocated the parents, and now I'm actually relocating their children. So their kids are coming to Houston to work as well. So it's interesting how their parents worked in oil and gas, the children are working in oil and gas, and now they have the opportunity as a child, and they're taking on senior positions, working for ConocoPhillips, Chevron, big BP, big companies, and they've gone in the same footsteps as their parents, and now they're being able to do it as themselves.
When you were in Aberdeen before you even came to the United States and Houston, Texas, did you have an interest in real estate or?
No.
And I want to tell people, after knowing you for over 10 years now, you were doing very well, very successful, and sometimes in any field, but certainly real estate. And as people see real estate shows and say, oh, I want to get into real estate, and they think it's easy, you're doing very, very well. But
it's not easy.
It is not easy, and I would attribute your success primarily to your work ethic.
Correct.
And I believe that started in Aberdeen, Scotland, getting up at 5 a.m.
I was a farmer's daughter, right?
Milking cows and the whole thing. Yeah.
Yes, a farmer's daughter. So you're born to work, you're raised to work. You work 7 days a week in real estate here in Houston. You also work 7 days a week.
So that's an advantage to have that strong work ethic and be over here, real estate. And at least you don't have to milk cows anymore, right?
Thank goodness, no.
Still not easy.
And it's still not easy, no.
So what are some of the other things, if you were to tell someone that just started real estate or thinking of, or just coming out of real estate school and so forth, what would you tell someone other than a work ethic that you should do to be successful in real estate?
Just follow up with people, get open houses, do your opportunities to meet people, join groups, do different things to, find a pipeline of work, and just work hard every day trying to get new clients and give them a good service.
We're talking with Lorna Ramsey with Keller Williams Metropolitan right here in Houston, Texas. Lorna, as we think, let's talk about Houston right now. As far as the marketplace, how is it when people ask you, let's say they're in, the Woodlands and they want to move into the city or something. How's the market right now for buyers and sellers?
So it's a very interesting market with a 7% interest rate. Things have definitely slowed down. We just had Beryl, the hurricane, that didn't do us any favours. Lots of trees down and lots of people trying to get back on their feet. Myself, I didn't have electricity for 7 days. Oof. So that doesn't help anybody trying to get batteries charged and phones operated. That was difficult. But the market is very interesting, hard for a buyer because of the high interest rate. The insurance is going up. It's difficult to get insurance today with a 15-year-old roof or older. They're looking to get roofs replaced. Very interesting time. A lot of people still renting, so a lot of your oil and gas people are not allowed to buy because their companies want them to be movable. So they'll come and they'll stay for 3, 5 or 7 years depending on their visa, and then they typically may or may not buy. Leasing is high end.
So when people sometimes they say they have a teenager, they might be referring to their roof. My roof is not quite in the teens, but many are. And so one of the other things you mentioned as far as leasing goes, so you also have a tremendous expertise helping people rent properties, rent homes, and so forth. Let's talk about the market there.
Yes, so I have investors that have properties that they solely use time and time again for rentals. So I have a lot of repeat business, renting out the same house many times. Lakes and Eldridge, the Energy Corridor, Katy is all areas that many people want to live because it's close to their workplace and a short commute. And like Lakes and Eldridge have private school buses, so Village School, British School, Otte International School are international baccalaureate schools, very sought after in the oil and gas. There's buses that actually leave for these neighbourhoods, and it makes it very easy for the families.
As far as schools, they're so important, aren't they?
Yes.
And people say the Katy School District is always so good, but they also say that about Cypress. And
yes.
I mean,
Houston's very lucky. It's got lots of exemplary schools all over and a lot of IB schools that you don't have to pay for. So schooling in Houston is very good.
What are the schools in Aberdeen, Scotland like, by the way?
They're okay.
They're just okay. Well, I always think of Sean Connery from Scotland. Was he from Aberdeen? Wasn't he from Aberdeen?
No, I think he's Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. Yeah. Is that far?
Not far, 3 hours.
So as you look ahead, here we're more than halfway through the year. Things are pretty good right now?
Yes,
Are you helping more buyers or more sellers?
I've actually been doing quite a bit of leasing, and I've sold all the properties I had listed. They didn't take long to sell because there is a shortage of inventory, because people with 2 or 3% mortgage rates are not selling their property, they're holding on to it. And so there's a bit of a shortage of supply.
Well, when we talk about leasing, we think we have a better feeling, I think, for buyers and the adventure of the buyer looking for a place. But as far as leasing, how long does it take for you to find average? How long does it take for you to find someone the right home for them to rent for a year or two?
2 or 3 days.
So it's not it's not as arduous, so to speak.
No. They choose from what's available in their price point, and I'll go and show maybe 20 or even 30 houses over 2 or 3 days, and then depending on what they're looking for, depends what's available. It doesn't take long.
You had mentioned as we talked on the phone about Stewart Title. As you're helping people from Scotland to Houston and vice versa, one of the things you were mentioning this, that what we do at Stewart Title, in particular Nancy Baker Jones doing tremendous work there in Memorial at Stewart Title. She does something, she has an expertise where she's helping you in a tremendous way. Let's tell people quickly.
So often what happens is if somebody buys a house here, they'll continue to own it but rent it. They've maybe gone away to Singapore or back to the UK or somewhere else, and they'll continue to own the property but lease it out. If they haven't lived in the house for 63 or 83 days, they are due FIRPTA. And FIRPTA is held by IRS until your next tax year. And not everybody understands FIRPTA because not everybody is working with international clients. So Nancy is absolutely amazing, and I absolutely love to work with her. She knows and understands. We work with a gentleman called Mark Enzi, and FIRPTA is also his expertise. He was a CPA, but he really does help international clients with that. You have to fill out forms, you've got to do your taxes properly, and it can actually come back on the listing agent, it can come back on the buyer's agent. If that money is not kept properly, it can land a lot of people in a lot of trouble.
And point being, all our escrow officers, I believe, are tremendous, and each one has a lot of experience. Some are with the company for 20, 30, even 40 years. So we all have this great expertise at Stewart Title.
So if you need help with buying, selling or leasing in Houston, I'd be delighted to help you. I work all over. Depends where your office is and how much of a commute you need. But I work downtown, right out the Energy Corridor. I've gone to Woodlands and to Sugarland. So I'm happy to help you. Call 713-884-9678 or Lorna Ramsey at kw.com. 713-884-9678.
And what if they want to go to the Wednesday morning coffee?
Just give me a call and I'll help them with that.
Thank you so much, Lorna Ramsey. As we continue, let's talk to Dave Nera. His company's called EXP Realty. Hey, Dave, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bill. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, it's so good to see you. Let's tell people, first of all, your company is EXP Realty. Let's tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, EXP Realty is a virtual brokerage, so we don't actually have a brick and mortar. We actually are on our own virtually, and that way we can communicate or ask any questions to our broker via email or text or call. Additionally, we're also partnered with the Adam Olson team, and that's the team that I'm on.
Adam Olson team.
Yes, sir.
A tremendous team. Let's tell people the scope of where your team works.
Absolutely. So we are located in Huntsville, but we will close anything in Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, Waco, Houston, surrounding areas.
And as far as the work you're doing, Dave, let's take the last 10, 20 transactions. Geographically, where have they been, whether it's a sale or a buyer?
Sure. The bulk of my transactions are typically in the Houston surrounding areas, and that's where I live, and focus primarily on that.
And as you're out there in terms of listing and helping the buyers, how's the market from your perspective right now?
From my perspective, there's a lot more listings coming soon. I've had a lot of sellers that I've been working with, and it is beneficial for a buyer to buy right now. The interest rates are a little bit lower at the 6% now, where they used to be high 6s and low 7s. So it's been pretty active for me as a buyer's agent, and then I've also had a lot of listings as well.
As far as listings, when you're talking with someone about listing their home, how are you coaching the seller right now as to what they can expect in this really dynamic market?
Great question, Bill. So presentation's everything. Additionally, when you want to have a buyer to walk in, they want to see themselves in that home. And additionally, you can add a candle as well to add scents. So anything you can touch the sensories, that's going to be a huge benefit to the buyers walking in. And then also staging the home well and then hiding any of your personal items. That's what I would recommend.
And when someone says, well, Dave, how long will it take me to sell my house? How do you go about answering that question? Because you never really know, right?
Correct. So that's a great question. It's all dependent on how flexible the seller is with their pricing. That is the most important aspect to the listing is the pricing. We can say, hey, we can list it $50K over, but that's not going to push the listing out. Now, what we do on the Adam Olson team is we get drone footage, we get the videographer out there, we get a photographer. We will do everything it takes to get that thing sold fast, no matter what the price is. But the flexibility of the seller is the most important.
And going back to the buyer, as far as, yes, we're talking about the interest rate being a factor in the buyer and who's buying homes now, but how often are you running into cash buyers?
Sure. Out of the last 10, I'd say about 3 of them were cash buyers, surprisingly. And it's because they're coming from California and New York, and they're used to a higher sales price, so they're able to buy more down here.
Interesting how California just comes up even when I don't mention it, because apparently the people are still coming from California, right?
Yes, absolutely. We've seen a lot, including businesses as well. They're transplanting from there to here in Houston because it's just a better market out here, more affordable. A lot of job opportunities, as you're aware. Houston's a really good hub for that.
So are you saying then buyers are finding you, Dave Nearer, all the way from California right here in Houston?
Absolutely. Yes.
As far as the marketing aspect of your work, because the realtor has to be so many things, and you have to market yourself, and quite frankly, being on the radio is not a bad idea, huh, Dave?
Great idea.
There you go.
I appreciate that.
But that said, how did this person or people find you from California out of the thousands of realtors here in Houston? What's
Another
the
great
trick?
question. So it's social media would be primary. We have a huge following on Instagram and Facebook, about 100,000 followers on each. We reach all the way as international clients as well. So a lot of people reach out to us via our social media, and that's how we can connect to them and get a broader audience for that.
And when we speak of California, in your world, the people you're helping from California, are they more from the Northern California or Southern? Just curious.
Typically the Southern, surprisingly.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
As far as sellers that you're helping here in Houston or the Houston area, let's say, are you helping anybody that are sellers that are leaving the state of Texas to go somewhere else?
Yes, I have. Absolutely.
Where are they going?
I have one going to Michigan. I have another going to New York.
Job related or?
Family, job related. A lot of moving parts in Houston, but I think that's a blessing for the market here in Houston.
And as far as here we are, again, more than halfway through the year, how do you see things play out as we wind things up
I
here?
think it's going to be a little skeptical towards the end because everyone's waiting to see how the election results will come about. But I have noticed that there's a lot more people getting more and more serious because the interest rates are helping that out as well. So we'll have to see, obviously. We can't predict it, but I think it's going to be a great end to the 2024.
And as you were saying, there's a little bit recently a little dip in the interest rates here.
Yeah, currently,
so that's helped.
Yeah, that's really helped a lot.
And of all the things you could be doing, Dave, what is it about real estate that attracted you?
Oh, that's a great question. I absolutely love what I do. Taking care of families is everything to me. It's very hard to buy a house, but if I can help with that process, make it smooth, and give them that communication they need to buy that home, I will do everything I can.
When we talked about social media, give us an idea of the social media platform that you use the most, like the most, and get the most results. What would that be?
2 of them, Facebook and Instagram, would be my top primary of using social media to get a broader audience. Especially on my stories, I post a lot of real estate showings, asking them if they would buy a house like this, or if they would want to tour any properties. But Instagram and Facebook have been really great for me in building an audience.
And with Facebook, do you put videos up?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And then how about Instagram?
Videos and pictures.
Fascinating. So let's tell people, what are some of the other things we should know about what you're doing?
Yeah, so I also do commercial leases as well. I will show anywhere in the Houston surrounding areas. I'll drive to Dallas, I'll drive to San Antonio, I'll drive to Austin, whatever it takes. Primarily take care of veterans, and I also take care of first-time home buyers or third or fourth or investors. I'm pretty flexible with who my audience is, so whoever I can help, I will gladly give a hand.
Give us an idea what's happening in the commercial world.
Yeah, so the offices are kind of slowing down right now. People are realizing it's probably easier to work from home. But I did notice a lot of retail is going up, and I think that's because a lot of businesses are popping up in here in Houston because it's a great market to thrive off of. So I'd say the commercial leases are really where it's at. But as far as office spaces, it's been kind of slow.
And when you're helping with commercial leases, are you helping people here in the Houston area, or again,
Great question.
people from coming out?
People who are coming out. I've had a lot of California leasers come out and want to put a business out here, and then I've had a lot of people local as well to do that.
And of course, again, California people are coming in. Are you finding people from anywhere else that are coming here to buy real estate or even commercial other than California?
Yeah, New York and the Rust Belt as well. Most of that side of the country, there's people coming over.
Like
Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, all that area. I've had a few clients from those
areas. And
they're
finding you also all the way from over there.
Absolutely, because we have that reach on social media.
So you guys must have some pretty good formula how to work your social media, because
Absolutely.
Again, you're one of many realtors, and yes, you're bringing excellent service all the time, but in the meantime, there has to be some other coordinates and little things that you're doing that you must know about.
Yeah, we focus on Facebook ads. We have partnerships with HomeLight, Homes.com, Realtor.com, so we try to advertise as much as we can to get a broader audience.
We're talking with Dave Nira. His company is called EXP Realty, and he's with the Adam Olson team. What are some of the other things, Dave, that real estate, people see their TV shows, not so much radio shows necessarily, but when they see TV shows, sometimes people think real estate is easy. What are some of the things that you're doing now in these last few years in real estate that you would advise someone to say, hey, this is what you really need to do to be successful in real estate as you're in it now?
In reference to a new agent?
Yeah, what would you tell that new agent?
I would tell them you need to be disciplined. That's number one. And secondly, you need to be effective with your communication with the buyer, the lenders, the title companies, Stewart Title, and everyone involved. Is communication is number one, whether it's good news or bad news. And discipline, you have to be focused, you have to follow up, you have to handhold. That's what you need to do to be successful and as a new agent. And thirdly, I would mention that you would need to surround yourself with people who are more successful in real estate to learn and pick their brain as a mentor.
And I think one of the things that's happening, correct me if I'm wrong, in real estate is it's not getting any easier in terms of, as I hear about all these changes taking place, I think I don't know how often you have to fill out a new form in your real estate transaction, but through the transaction, there's always like another form to sign. So as the real estate professional, it's got to be hard to keep up with all that. I don't know how you guys do it.
Yeah, we have consistent classes. We have to do every 2 years new legal update 1 and 2 on the contracts. It's quite a lot. I mean, we really have to keep up to date on our contracts or we'll be left behind.
No doubt about it. Dave, what else should we know before we close this segment?
Yeah, so I love what I do. I will take care of any family. I am a top producer on the Adam Olson team for 2023, and I continue to do that with taking care of more families and businesses.
Dave Nira.
Easiest way to reach me would be cell phone 713-818-7012. You can call me or text me at any.
The phone number again is
713-818-7012.
Let's talk to J.P. Byers. He's with Crush City Realty Group, and also Josh Perella with Covo Capital. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Bill.
Thanks for having us.
Here you are. 2 for 1.
2 for 1. I had to bring a
A
partner.
lot of bang for the buck.
It's awesome. So first of all, JP, you are a real estate professional. Let's tell people about your company, Crush City, because you're crushing it all the time. That's what we hear.
So as you see, I'm in Astros gear.
You are.
My business partner and I are huge Astros fans, and so more or less when we decided to form our team, trying to come up with a name. And one of the things I love when I'm at a game and we hit a home run is I'm like, Crush City, baby, right? And it's
Exactly, yeah.
So Crush City Realty Group, that's how we came up with it. We decided that regardless of what people's thoughts were, if you didn't like it, it just kind of is what it is. You're probably not my customer.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, since I saw you last time and have seen your Facebook post. I think one of the nice things where I see Crush City and JP Buyers, your name,
Yep.
it sticks with me, especially the Crush City part.
We definitely have some, our signage and our media and our marketing is some things that you will not see in real estate. Our signs look exactly like our business cards. It's like that on purpose. Our signs are absolutely enormous. We do everything we can to just make sure we stand out.
And let's tell people, as far as geographically, I know you're all over Texas, but as far as where you work primarily in the last 20 transactions, where
I would actually tell you that I disagree with that. I would much rather refer somebody to somebody that knows something about another city than I would actually try to go and do something in another city that I don't know very well. I've lived in North Dallas for a number of years, so I know the area pretty well. But as a real estate agent, I don't. So our transactions honestly come from the Clear Lake area. So when you talk about Clear Lake area, League City, Clear Lake, before it was actually annexed into Houston, Webster, Friendswood, Pearland, LaPorte, Deer Park, a little into Baytown, but not as much. Now I do commercial real estate, and so I do what I say hunting grounds. I hunt a mile off of Clear Lake. I currently live in Seabrook, Texas, and so two of my largest customers are actually in Seabrook, and we've got a purchase right now going on off of El Camino Real and Rosita, and that's for a chiropractor that's in the Clear Lake area. I also do leases. Probably my biggest customer is Texas Flex Fitness, who has an office in Seabrook, a gym in Seabrook as well as a gym in Clear Lake, and we're looking for another one now as well. I'll go anywhere. Primarily, I stay within a mile of the lake, and I actually get very angry at myself if I find a piece of property that goes up for sale or goes up for lease in Seabrook that I did not know about.
Well, let's meet Josh Perella. Now, you brought him here today. Let's tell people, first of all, your relationship with Josh Perella and his company, Covo Capital.
So the reason why I brought Josh is because Josh is my primary lender. And when I say my primary lender, he's actually a loan broker. And so he takes and will fit people to the proper bank. And so when he goes to bank, the bank already knows that these people are pre-qualified. Like they are already ready to go. And he also does nothing but commercial. So we kind of more or less go hand in hand.
So there you go, Josh. That's a great lead. And let's tell people about Covo Capital.
He's proud of me.
Yeah.
I am very proud.
Yeah, I'll piggyback onto that. We are actually kind of even stepping away from the broker term because we're trying to get a little bit deeper onto the consultation side. But as people know us in the general industry, we would be considered brokers. What makes us a little bit different is that my partner and my partner's in Vegas, I'm here in Houston, and then we have a team all over the U.S. We handle deals from Mexico to Canada, and I'm even working on a hospital in the Caribbean right now. But we were both ex-bankers. And one of the big things we found as bankers was there's a common saying, I can't unknow what I know. And basically what that meant was anything a customer said to me, I had a fiduciary duty to the bank. And so as all these bankers are out here talking to people in the markets, they want to work for the client, but they don't work for the client. The nice thing on my end, what I've enjoyed the past now 4 years, getting out of banking and getting into brokering is I actually do work for the client. So they can tell me anything. They can tell me the good, bad, and the ugly. And we won't, distort what their challenges are, but we can work on those metrics that the bank is going to look at, and we can successfully communicate that to the bank. I've actually got 2 deals right now that tied directly into that, and that they were that deal had been seen at that bank 3 months prior, and we actually got the deal done. And the only reason was because communicating properly and setting the client up for success.
Well, also, just to remind people, JP was saying you only lend to commercial. Is that correct?
Commercially. So in retail, on the retail side, the commercial would be, the overlap would be buy and flips, construction, new construction, things of that nature. So we do dabble a little bit on the retail side, but it's still considered commercial lending. So
So one of the other things I'd like to add is a lot of business owners and a lot of people trying to get into the business don't understand that most of your banks that we're used to traditionally dealing with are called relationship banks. And so when you say a relationship bank, they expect that you have a certain amount of cash in the bank by comparison to how much money you're actually going to be spending. They want to see transactions. How much money do you move in and out of the bank before they even start talking to you about lending you any kind of money? So for a first-time business owner, a first-time investor, it's a big deal to go and try to find somebody, because let's face it, a lot of these local banks that we deal with, they don't have a clue what it takes to get a commercial deal done. And so I can turn around and send them over here to Josh, who works with private money, non-relationship based banks that can actually take care of deals that nobody else could.
And as far as the marketplace right now, from the real estate perspective, JP, how are you seeing it, especially as you are living in the Clear Lake area? And for those listening outside of Houston, they may not know about Clear Lake, but there is, if you go south in Houston, southeast, on the way to Galveston, Texas, everyone's heard of Galveston. So it's a whole different marketplace. What's it like down there now?
It's not easy, but it's definitely not like the rest of the world. Everybody on the planet knows Houston, we have a problem. NASA, Apollo 13, right? So I live 2.5 miles from Johnson Space Center. And so they bring in a ton of business, but you also have lots of oil and gas that are concentrated right there next to the Clear Lake area. And so your majority of your workers, regardless of whether it's the actual plant operators and plant workers, but the actual people that run those plants also live in the Clear Lake area. So there's a lot of money in our area. I learned a long time ago that just because you see a guy's shoes doesn't mean you have any clue about the guy's finances. And so when you look at the Clear Lake area, you will find people living in regular, normal $300,000 houses that live on a shoestring budget, but invest incredibly heavily.
Well, when you talk about the Space Center, one of the things I think about is here in Houston, there are so many economic drivers, the medical, oil and gas, and sometimes we forget about the Space Center, which is so important to really to the world. It's incredible. And as you're so close to it, our Stewart Title office right there is a hop, skip, and a jump.
Just right down the street, especially from the new spaceport. And so you guys are, your Clear Lake office is 5-10 minutes away from the new spaceport.
What's the new spaceport?
So the new spaceport is a portion of Ellington Field. I believe it's roughly 30 acres that is being developed to handle all the new aeronautical and space exploration companies that are coming in. As of 2 years ago, it was already 70% sold, in the process of being built out. It's right there off of Space Center Boulevard on the east side of Ellington Field. You've got a brand new neighborhood that's gone up over there that has exploded. It is filling up incredibly fast, which is one of the reasons why we have this huge housing shortage that the other two agents before me talked about.
We're talking with J.P. Byers with Crush City Realty Group and Josh Perella with Covo Capital. What else should we know, Josh?
Well, I do agree. I mean, we've got the election coming up. That's been slowing some stuff down. So people are waiting on rates. But probably the biggest thing, at least for our area, is getting to know the proper people in our area. And I think one of the strengths that we have and why we're here together is we're really good about building resources, not just tools, but people around the clients that come in, so that they can not only, one of your guests earlier was talking about helping with schooling and helping with all the ancillary type things that you need to have support for. That's what makes the teams out in our area, I think, having that expertise of knowing everybody else and who to introduce them to.
So when we think about commercial, let's say the rate for a residential mortgage is just take 7%, right? Is it parallel in the commercial world, or is it higher or lower?
To an extent. It depends on the product. When you talk commercial, you're talking not just real estate, but equipment, investment. But on the commercial real estate side, it can go anywhere from 5s all the way to 10 point something.
And Josh, let's tell people how they can reach you at Covo Capital.
My number is 346-264-4153, or you can email me at josh@covocapital.com. 346-264-4153.
And JP,
I think one of the things that it's lost when you talk to real estate professionals is I may make money selling real estate, but real estate is not my business. I'm a relationship person. Without relationships, none of the rest of it comes together. And so if you're looking for a partner that's going to be there to support your business from the beginning to the end, from cradle to grave, that's what I do for a living.
JP
100%.
Byers. How can they forget Crush City?
It's Crush City, baby.
You can't.
It's Crush City.
Let's tell people how they can reach you, JP.
Sure. It's 713-423-5898, and I am at J Byers, and that's BYERS, best name in real estate, at crushcityrealtygroup.com. It's a mouthful, crushcityrealtygroup.com.
And your last name really is Byers.
Byers without the U. 713-423-5898.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Have a blessed day, man.
Thank you.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance. John.
Bill, nice to see you, sir.
Well, here we are. Once again, it's an exciting show. It's always interesting to see what people say and the different perspectives each and every real estate professional has. And then here we are, insurance time once again.
Show 529.
529. Sounds like,
That's fantastic.
What time is it? It's
At
529. That's right.
Well, and we'll be on at 529. Well, today, Bill, I'd like to talk about the 100 deadliest days of summer.
How many are left, first of all?
We're about a third of the way through.
Good. Okay.
So this is Memorial Day to Labor Day, the 100 deadliest days of summer, and those are when we see a significant increase in traffic-related accidents and injuries or deaths. So
the roads can be very hazardous, no doubt.
And we've got more people on the roads. We've got more people traveling. We've got vacations. So annually we see, this 100-day period between Memorial Day and Labor Day is a significant number of deaths or injury increases on the road, especially from teen drivers that we'll see during this period. We could see up to 7 deaths a day nationally with teen drivers just being on the road. So there's some things that we can do from a team perspective, and there's some things that we can do just in general to make sure that we are a bit safer so that we can survive these 100 days without having an issue.
Well, no doubt. I travel on Interstate 10 the majority of my driving, and I'm going to tell you, I see more major accidents on a regular basis, and it's heartbreaking, especially when you drive by them, because some are very bad. And I have to say, I think texting is at the core of many of them. I don't know, but guessing.
Well, I think you can take across the board distracted driving can be an issue, and that distracted driving can be, more engaged with the people in the car with you than you are focused on the road. That distracted driving could be, as you mentioned, texting. That distracted driving could be driving under the influence. So, just making sure that you're not that is critical. If you have a teen that drives, if they're going to be in a situation where they're going to be driving in difficult situations, bad weather, make sure that they reach out to you prior so that you can have that conversation with them about whether they should drive, and if so, how, or should maybe they wait until, let's say, a storm, were to pass. They talk a lot about, the hashtag not while driving. So again, keeping that phone in the glove box or keeping the phone away from your hand, your reach, so that you're not tempted to use it, while you're driving. With your teen, discuss things like speed limits and the use of seat belts, and while that's important, and highway safety, so that they understand if a situation were to happen, how do I handle that? From a friend's perspective, don't get in a car with somebody that's going to be a distracted driver, whether that's a friend that spends all their time on the phone, or unfortunately, if it's a friend that might be driving under the influence, just making sure that your teen understands then maybe we'll pass on that ride, and I'll call mom and dad to come get me.
That's a good point. As a parent, it's not only important to know the level and the abilities of your own teen, but now we have to be concerned about who are they riding with. That's a good point.
Absolutely. And I think even as adults, we need to keep that under consideration. And just in general, things like being prepared. Do I know where I'm going? Do I know how to get there? If I need to take an alternate route, do I know how to, take advantage of that? Just avoiding risky behaviors. Am I driving too fast? Am I trying to make a pass that maybe I shouldn't make? Or, I'm in the far left-hand lane. Here's my exit. Can I get all the way across to make that exit versus going one more exit down, exiting and circling back around? When it starts to rain, am I putting my wipers on? When it gets dark, do I have my lights on? I mean, I know they sound like simple things, but we don't always pay attention to those simple things. Don't drive so fast. We've talked about this a lot on the show, and we talk about this a lot in our real estate liability class, that during the pandemic, once we started driving, people were driving faster and more aggressively. Post-pandemic, we've gone back to pre-pandemic traffic levels, but we're still driving faster. We're still driving more aggressively. Therefore, we're seeing more and more accidents. So just simply driving slow. Another one that seems simple, but we don't see it as much as we used to, is use your turn indicator.
Absolutely,
I think there's some cars now that people are buying them without turn indicators.
You shouldn't do that.
Well, and think about what we've gone through since May with the derecho and then with Hurricane Beryl. We still have parts of the city that don't have stoplights working, or they're flashing yellow, or they're flashing red, and understanding how to handle those is important. And I think we all know, but we sometimes forget if that's the case. And the idea of turn around, don't drown. So if we're in a situation where we've had a heavy rain and it's a part of the city that has a propensity for flooding, it's not worth going through the water.
Exactly. And one of the things, as I have been driving year after year, I like to go steady now. I go slow, steady. I get there. I'm strategic, but I take my time. I'm smelling the roses, John.
Well, I think another an aspect of that idea of smelling the roses is vary your route. So you don't get in one where it's just routine and you tell the car where you're going and you don't pay attention. So if you vary your route, you've got to pay a bit more attention. You've got to be aware of what's happening, and that just kind of keeps you on your toes.
It makes it interesting, too.
It does.
It does. Depending, yeah.
It does.
So what are some of the other things we should know, John, on this topic? 100 days, wow.
Well, I think part of that is understanding what I have as it relates to my car insurance. So not all, like any insurance plan, not all car auto plans are the same. So do I have, you're going to have liability insurance, and that's going to help damages that you would cause. So if you hurt somebody or you damage some property. So do I have liability coverage, and if so, at what level? Medical payment coverage, so would help you reimburse if you or a passenger were injured in a wreck, or if you're a pedestrian and you got hit by a car. So having that medical payment coverage. Uninsured motorist is really critical to have. So either it's hit and run, or the person that had the accident didn't have coverage. The one that goes hand in hand that sometimes people ignore is underinsured coverage. So you may have somebody has coverage, but it could be limited. So let's say their bodily injury coverage that they have is $15,000, and let's say the cost of your medical is $50,000. You're now responsible for, unless you have something like underinsured coverage, you're now responsible for that $35,000 difference.
So then I have to be concerned about the other person having insurance and having enough insurance. Then I have to cover my end.
So that's where the underinsured
I never thought about that.
Comes into play. Coverage you want to have to protect your auto. So if you have collision insurance, so damage that you would have to your car, whether you hit another vehicle or hit another object, and then you would want to consider having comprehensive insurance. So that would help you covered if your car was stolen, or if there was a natural disaster that damaged your car, or there was vandalism to your car. So having the comprehensive coverage can help. Well, if you would like to be properly insured, if you want to make sure that you do have the right coverage for your personal auto, because another thing to keep in mind is if you are, do you have rental coverage? And if so, what does that come into play? Or if you're in the gig economy, so let's say you have a part-time job where you're delivering food or you're providing Uber or Lyft, that's probably not going to be covered by your personal auto insurance. Now, some of those companies will provide coverage, but they only provide coverage when you're in the act of doing business for them. So there might be a benefit to looking at commercial auto. So regardless, if you'd like to make sure that you're properly insured from a car perspective, an auto perspective, we would love to have that opportunity to have that conversation with you to make sure that you are properly insured.
How can people reach you?
They can reach us at 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827, and we can help people all over the U.S. with their car, auto, truck, home, flood insurance.
All over the U.S.
All over the U.S.
Florida, Indiana.
Florida and Indiana.
New York.
Yes. New York, exactly.
Covering
California.
all the bases.
Covering
John,
all the bases.
The phone number again is
866-798-2827.
Thank you so much, John Bramlett.
Thank you, Bill.
And now, our business development people are the A++++ team. And right here is Hope Moy, one of our business development people for Stewart Title. Hope, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bill, it's good to see you.
Well, here you are. You brought Dave on the show. Fantastic, huh?
I know. Don't you love his hair?
I don't know what kind of conditioner he uses, but it's phenomenal.
Yes.
I need to get a gallon.
I mean, and y'all had hair stories.
We have a lot in common in that regard.
Yes.
So meanwhile, people want to know that they know we have offices all over, but let's tell people you are an ambassador for two of our offices.
Absolutely. So I work out of the Magnolia and Conroe office in Montgomery County. My Magnolia office is off of 1488 and 2978, and the Conroe office is off of 336.
And then for those listening outside of Houston, that's basically northwest of the city, right?
Absolutely.
So it's a big city, and the areas you speak of, we're very busy there, and the real estate activity is phenomenal, right?
Yes. So both 1488 and 105 roads, which feed directly to the center of each town, basically, are expanding. So the roads are expanding, huge neighborhoods coming in, developments, and in both as well.
And the big Interstate 45 that goes north to Dallas, how far off of 45 are the offices you're speaking of for Stewart?
So my Magnolia office off of 45, I would say with the traffic and growth, in the middle of the day it would probably be a 20-minute drive. And the Conroe office, maybe 10.
Fantastic, Hope. Let's tell people how they can reach you.
Reach me on my cell at 346-224-1908. Again, 346-224-1908.
And I may have jumped the gun. Was there something else you wanted to say?
Yes, that's why I'm giving you looks right now.
I had a feeling. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, slow down. No, we are launching an event for October, so this gives me a little bit of time to advertise for it, but it's a save the date for Cornhole for a Cure. It is a public real estate industry event, so all aspects are invited. We're looking for people to have a cornhole team. We're looking for sponsors. We're looking for raffle prizes. So if anybody out there would like to participate in this event, please give me a call. We'd love to talk to you. October 5th at Kirby's Ice House in the Woodlands.
Plenty of time. The phone number again is?
346-224-1908.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Hope Moy. Here she is, Jana McGuire, also with Stewart Title, doing tremendous work. Oh, yeah, in the Clear Lake area where business is taking off, just like at NASA, right, Jana?
It's taking off.
It's taking off.
We have a problem, Houston. No, it's actually Houston. We have a problem.
Something like that, right?
Yes.
So let's tell people, there you are, Stewart Title, doing great work, Jana. What's going on in your area?
Yeah, so our area's it's slowed down a little bit this month, and I think it has a lot to do with Hurricane Beryl. So everyone in our area is still feeling it. Not everyone has gotten their electricity back and their power, and our office was closed for a week, but we were still working. We were just in a different location. So we were still working for our clients.
But you're back in operation now?
We're back and ready to roll.
And also, I brag about our Stewart Title business development people for so many reasons, but one of them is to stay close to you because you have events, just like Hope mentioned something coming up in her area.
Yeah.
But also you have educational events, CE classes. Even John Bramlett is no stranger to each and every Stewart Title office. So anything coming up in particular in your area?
So Thursday, I have a class. Kevin Davison's teaching it. It's a 3-hour CE course for Facebook ads to learn how to navigate through those. And then next month, since school is starting, we are having a makeup bag party. So instead of making the cute little hats everybody's making now, we're doing makeup bags and mimosas and all kinds of stuff.
The course selection is diverse and the activities are diverse. Jana McGuire,
absolutely.
Let's tell people how to reach you.
832-244-3439. And that is 832-244-3439.
Jana, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Also, I want to mention Kurt Jones. He's doing fantastic work right there in our Memorial office. The phone number, if you're in the Memorial area, you can give them a call where you want to bring your real estate transaction. The phone number there is right there at 713-468-8900. 713-468-8900. And now Lorna Ramsey is back. Lorna is with Keller Williams Metropolitan. You know, Lorna, there are a lot of Keller Williams. There's Metropolitan, all sorts of. You're at the Metropolitan, the one right by the Galleria. In fact, overlooking the Galleria, right?
Correct, yes.
So before we close the show, Lorna Ramsey, what else should we know?
So if I can help you buy, sell, or lease your Houston home, give me a call, 713-884-9678.
And what if someone has a question about Scotland?
I'm happy to help them.
No problem, right?
No problem.
Wednesday coffee.
Yes.
What time does that take place?
It's 10 o'clock on a Wednesday.
10 o'clock. Okay. The phone number, if someone wants to reach you, is
713-884-9678.
Thank you so much, Lorna. Good to see you.
Thank you, Bill.
Here he is, Dave Nira. Dave,
Bill.
Well, welcome back here. We're final minutes of the show, Dave. What else should people know about what you're doing with your company?
Sure. So we love taking care of families. That's the number one priority. And I also want to mention that I have the best hair in real estate. So when you want to work with the best, you will save with Dave.
Save with Dave, the best hair in real estate. And oh yeah, this is an opportunity for me to tell you to go to Stewart.com/radio. If you're listening to the show at Stewart.com/radio, you could see the show, all the interesting characters right here, and you could see Dave's hair, and you could see why he calls it the best hair in real estate.
That's correct. 713-818-7012. Again, that's 713-818-7012.
Did you also say save with Dave?
That's correct. 713-818-7012.
Thank you so much, Dave. It is now time, once again, Crush City, J.P. Byers, and Josh Perella. Now, JP, you don't have anyone with the last name Sellers on the team, or you might?
No, but I've been looking. I've been looking.
Then it could be Sellers and Byers, Crush City.
Right.
I'm on it, man.
So the one last thing I think I'd like to say is I have to bring up that Crush City Realty Group, as far as our residential side, was actually blessed with an amazing opportunity. We are now currently listing all of the units for the Star luxury apartments in downtown. That's 1111 Rusk.
I've been there, actually.
It's a gorgeous facility.
A couple years ago. Yeah.
And so we are doing that on our residential side, and it is a blessing. It's called the Star Luxury Apartments. It's 1111 Rusk, and it is the original Texaco headquarters built in 1950. You can reach me at 713-423-5898 or jbyers at crushcityrealtygroup.com. 713-423-5898.
Thank you so much, JP. Josh Perella, it's you and me.
Basically, whether it's a new business, existing business, don't be afraid to reach out to us and get some no-holds-bar, honest, consultative services. 346-264-4153. 346-264-4153.
And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Nampick, together with John Bramlett, all of us at Stewart Title and Stewart Insurance. We appreciate you listening. And again, simply go to stewart.com/radio